tattoos. That's what I thought. I myself am guilty of having a tattoo, and today's society, it's a lot less rebellious than it used to be, and it's a lot more accepted. Tattoos have a very unique history, and they have changed a lot from their origin, and today they're becoming very, very popular. We will take a look at the history of tattoos, the statistics in America, and also the risk of getting a tattoo. First of all, tattoo actually comes from the word tatau, like T-A-T-T-A-U, which literally means to mark. Um, Tattoos can be proven to go back as far as 5,000 years ago, but scientists believe that's a lot further back, but they can't actually prove it because they don't, skin decays. So the only way they know it went back 5,000 years was in 1991. They discovered a man in a block of ice in Austria. He was almost completely preserved, and he had up to like 57 tattoos. But his tattoos were they weren't artistic. They were just dots, parallel lines, and crosses, and most of them were on joints. So scientists are believing that they used tattoos back then for pain relief, because you're allowing endorphins to go to that area of pain. Another way they can trace back tattoos is the mummies in Egypt, because they did such a good job of preserving their bodies also. They could tell that when they untombed them, they found tattoos on more women actually than men in that society. And they believe that they put tattoos on the bodies after death. They use them at funerals in order to send messages to the gods after their death. And Africa also has a very big impact on tattoos, also more on because they were said to have started the first scarification and branding, since ink didn't show up on darker skin as well. So they did a lot of the scarification and branding. At this time, tattoos were very magical and religious, and later it moved on to being more of a status symbol. For instance, in some Native American cultures, some tattoos are just reserved for the chiefs of the tribe or people high in power. And a lot of tattoos are used for rite of passage too in some tribes. And then along with the status symbol, they also use it for identification. The Romans were the first to tattoo their inmates in order to let the common population know that if an inmate were to escape, they were to know not to help them. And in more common time, it was also used in the Nazi concentration camps. All the inmates there were also tattooed. And from purposes from religion to magical and identification, it has now moved into an art form. It's more for memorials or religious. Some people still use it for religious purposes, and more people are using it as an art canvas, and that's how it's become more acceptable because everyone is using it. They're showing their individuality. It's become so popular that right now there's 18% of the population in the U.S. is tattooed, which is really big. That's by Fox News. I got that stat from. That's up from 15% in 2000, which was from an issue of National Geographic in 2000. 36% of our age group have tattoos. So the prediction basically is it'll be up to about 50% by the time we're about 80 years old. And only 10% of people who get tattoos actually regret it. This also opened business opportunities for a lot of people. There's over 20,000 tattoo shops now in the U.S., and one opening a day. And it's also, just a random fact, it's the second most searched image on the internet. So a lot of people are interested in it. But with all the increased popularity, people tend to forget the risks of tattoos. There's mild and major risk. Mild, obviously, irritation of the skin. I mean, if you don't get an irritation of the skin from the tattoo, you're a superhero or something. And then also rashes. For some reason, red ink tends to hurt people a lot more. You can get a rash up to 2 years after having a tattoo from red ink. And then the more major ones, which you've probably heard of, like just skin infections, excessive scabbing, bleeding, pulsing, and also the disease that you can get, HIV, AIDS, hepatitis, and syphilis, just from not using sterile instruments. In conclusion, tattoos have become a great way to express oneself and also to prove like artistic ability. It's an art canvas for people. and it's become very popular. We have learned this by looking at the history of tattoos and also the history of tattoos, the statistics in the United States, and also the risks of getting a tattoo. Now that I've told you a little bit more, I hope that you are more open-minded to tattoos, understand where they have come from, and also would choose the right way to go in getting a tattoo.